The Washington Commanders beat the Chicago Bears on a last-second Hail Mary, but the big story from the game is that a Bears defensive back may have been too busy taunting fans to be ready for the Hail Mary at the end of the play. We're going to break this down and what the fallout is afterwards. But Jayden Daniels, man, this was absolutely insane. This was a moment when it didn't look like this guy was even going to be healthy, ready to play, but he actually came out and dueled against Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. And just check out the audio of the local broadcast during this last second Hail Mary. These guys were loving this.
Heads towards the end zone. It is.
I mean, what else do you do in this moment besides scream? Nobody saw this coming. Nobody thought this was going to happen. Everybody thought the game was over. You know, there's always going to be some people saying, oh, I thought we still had a chance. But I mean, there's 0 seconds left on the clock. You get one extra play. That's it. And you just heave it up. And then it happened. Jayden Daniels made it happen. Very low scoring game. We know the Bears are a good defensive team, and it was in DC. You had another hilarious moment when a Commanders fan was being interviewed, getting his reaction right before the Hail Mary. And this is how you know even Commanders fans thought the game was over. This guy changed his tune once he realized what happened.
I feel as though it was a good game because it was close. Like, I feel as though we won, for real. We like, what I say? What I say? We won! What I say? We won! We won! We won! We won!
He went from saying we played a good game to what did I tell you? We won, we won. My favorite guy in this video is this dude who comes out of nowhere just to make sure that his face gets into the news camera, doing the classic surprise reaction there. But it was cool to see these fans happy, and it was cool to see, you know, pretty much the craziest ending to a game this entire year, maybe even crazier than last year. And it just shows you that the game is never over. It brings more excitement to the league. But what was not exciting was for Chicago Bears fans and for the Chicago Bears defense. Tyrique Stevenson was spotted mocking Commanders fans mid-play that resulted in a Hail Mary TD. And that's why I wanted to emphasize that most people thought this game was over, including Tyrique Stevenson and the Chicago Bears. I mean, it's actually common wisdom to believe that the game is over in this moment. There's almost no way that you can complete this. And you had Tyrique there pointing at Commanders fans. And look at the play is going on. You got offensive receivers running routes, and this dude is too busy pointing at fans, mocking them, laughing at them. The play is going on. He finally starts to wander over there, and then boom, this guy. We're going to get into his reaction in a second. There might be some repercussions for this. And then you get the freaking tip. I just had to watch that again, man. I mean, it's great. This is like a college football type of ending. You don't get this in the NFL, man. So happy for all those guys getting freaking hammered in the box there. But that is the big story, though. What if this guy would have been more heads up? This is the number 2 cornerback on the team right now. This guy is heavily relied upon by the Chicago Bears. It just goes to show you, and goes to show every player that the game is never over. Just when you think you got it, just when you think that you can taunt, then a situation like this happens. And this is now the story of the game. The story of the game, obviously for the Commanders, is Jayden Daniels is amazing. Best quarterback in the draft class. Is he better than Caleb Williams? I think a lot of people would say yes. Maybe the Bears wish they would have selected Jayden Daniels instead of Caleb Williams. But now the big story for the Bears is Tyrique Stevenson, and he actually had to respond to this. 7 million views on X. If you're not familiar, that is insane. Typically, an announce of a trade is only like 3 to 4 million. So this is absolutely viral. To Chicago and teammates, my apologies for lack of awareness and focus. The game ain't over until zeros hit the clock. Can't take anything for granted. Notes taken. Improvement will happen. Bear down. So this guy must have been flamed in his DMs, called out by teammates, called out by fans, obviously, and coaches, making him have to make a public statement. So a lot of people saying, don't apologize. You gave us one of the funniest images in NFL history. And that is pretty historic. 3 receivers running a Hail Mary route, and this dude grabbing on his crotch, staring at the fans right now. Bears fans trying to let him know the play is going on right now. Wow. You got a couple middle fingers there as well. But this guy had to apologize, and you have teammates upset with him. DJ Moore, wide receiver of the Chicago Bears, who was just paid in this past offseason, saying that the viral fan video will be addressed by the Bears captain. So the Bears captains are going to make a statement, have a little talk with Tyrique Stevenson and the entire team after this L. Obviously, they're disappointed. You had DJ Moore saying, I didn't see it happen during the play. I've seen it just how everybody else has seen it on social media. The captains were talking about how we really need to address that. I saw that he put something out that he was sorry, but we've still got to address it as a leadership group in front of the team. So big story there, big repercussions happening. I don't think this guy's going to be benched though. They rely on him. He's the number 2 cornerback for the team, but just goes to show you, you can't ever be caught slipping. And you got to check out Caleb Williams' reaction to this play. Caleb Williams obviously so upset about this. Check this out. Check this out here. The yelling. Ooh. That is the big moment here. He does the natural disappointment. Check out Matt Eberflus too, the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Right when this happens, he's looking, boom, catch, Eberflus, the quick head turn. Boom, you can see the anger, still keeping it under control right there. And then you see, as Caleb Williams starts to walk, maybe he thinks the cameras aren't following him anymore. I'm sorry, Caleb Williams, when you're the number 1 pick in the draft, the cameras are always following you, dude, on the sideline. Unfortunately, this is how this world works. Then you start to see the anger and the frustration, rightfully so. But this is when you see the lashing out and the yelling here, man. This is when it gets intense. Whoo, doggy. I think the captains are going to have a talk. Caleb Williams early on in the season said that he had a problem with the Bears players leaving their locker room as a mess. I think there's a bigger mess to clean up in Chicago right now, which is playing the full 4 quarters until the clock hits 0. But you see that frustration from Caleb Williams. However, I will say, I mean, the Washington Commanders defense has been better as of late. They don't have as good of players and as good of a roster as the Chicago Bears defense. And I'm sorry, Caleb Williams, I know you want to be frustrated that this game did not end the way that you wanted it to end, but Caleb Williams did not do a good job in this game. Obviously, Caleb Williams has a pretty bad offensive line. We saw that on display in the Houston Texans game earlier this season, but 41% completion percentage, 172 yards. If this was any other quarterback, if this was a quarterback that the media did not like, they would all be flaming them regardless of the offensive line. Dude, I've been a Raiders fan my whole life. I have covered Derek Carr my whole life. And if Derek Carr, regardless of the offensive line, had any kind of game like this, the media wouldn't give a shit and would completely rip that dude into smithereens. And that's just the way it goes, man. That's just the way it goes when it's a darling child of the NFL, a top pick. Everybody has kid gloves with them. But Caleb Williams, he could be frustrated in that moment. He did not do his end of the job in this game. Now, you saw Stevenson, the same guy we talked about earlier, get into some altercations throughout this game. This was before, obviously, the Hail Mary during the game. You saw him get a little shove, a little hands to the face to the offensive lineman. This dude really needs to check his temper. I don't think it's just the Hail Mary that's the problem here. And you had, the one and only Scary Terry McLaurin. This was one of my favorite moments in this game with 9 seconds to go in the third quarter saying, you ain't shit. I mean, just you read the lips to me. What does he say?
Gives him another 15. There's McLaurin.
Too many penalties.
I love that, man. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. So Stevenson's definitely going to hear it after the game. Caleb Williams, maybe we'll hear it after the game. I don't know. Honestly, this is one thing that I am concerned about with the Bears organization. And I've been concerned about this since Hard Knocks. If you guys check out Hard Knocks where they cover the Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus, he doesn't have that much job security. And it almost seems like Caleb Williams is his boss. He talks to Caleb Williams like he's scared of him. You can see this in Hard Knocks. He defers to him too much. Obviously, he's your franchise quarterback, so you want to take some input. But the guy seems scared of Caleb Williams. Is he really going to be the type of dude who could drop the hammer on this guy, lay down the discipline, saying, hey, look, I know the offensive line isn't perfect, but at the end of the day, you're a number 1 overall pick. You're supposed to be this hot shit quarterback. You said that you were the next Patrick Mahomes, even better than Patrick Mahomes. And so far, you haven't been playing too well. And you definitely don't have the best numbers among starting rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. I actually wanted to make sure this is true. And when you take a look at it in terms of yards, Caleb Williams, 3rd in yards right now, but is number 1 in touchdowns. However, he does have 5 interceptions. Jaden Daniels has 2 interceptions on the year. Caleb Williams doing about 1 touchdown better than Bo Nix. So what? Okay, I take that back. Still playing at a high level when you look at the statistics and the numbers, considering the fact that he has a bad offensive line. But the guy is also heated at his teammates. I don't think he's setting a good example either. But shout out to Jaden Daniels. He deserves all the hype and respect. Keep in mind, a lot of people thought Marcus Mariota was going to start because he had to finish out the game against the Carolina Panthers the week prior. A lot of people thought, hey, you know what? It's going to be the Mariota show. Jaden Daniels has a rib cartilage injury, but Jaden Daniels was able to tough it out, ended up making the game. And this was a last-second decision. If you're watching this game, it came out of nowhere. Jaden Daniels, after the game, giving thanks.
Nothing but God, man. Nothing but God. Without him, I didn't even think I'd be playing this week.
Without God, he did not even think he was going to be playing this week. That just showed how big this injury was, how much it was affecting him. The rib cartilage injury that dude just thought it was a miracle that he even showed up to the game. Forget the Hail Mary, that he was even able to make it. He thought it was a complete miracle. And hey, at the end of the day, though, man, for us NFL fans, this is the real miracle. You see, Dan Quinn, the former Cowboys defensive coordinator, former Atlanta Falcons head coach,
Look at Dan Quinn, and the legend grows.
happy as hell, man. And now we're getting to this point where, are the Commanders the best team in the NFC? Obviously, the Detroit Lions are listed at number 1 with a 6-1 record. Washington Commanders at 6-2. Keep in mind the Chicago Bears, who now dropped to 4-3, they had a bye week before this game. So they had pretty much no excuses. Jaden Daniels dealing with injuries and you had extra rest. They really should have put this game away. But you see the Commanders tied with Green Bay, tied with the Minnesota Vikings, tied with the Philadelphia Eagles. They could maybe solidify themselves as at least number 2 behind the Detroit Lions, because it seems like nobody's stopping the Detroit Lions. And they got a pretty manageable schedule coming up. Giants, dub. Steelers, maybe an L. Philadelphia, maybe an L. Dallas Cowboys, dub. Titans, dub. New Orleans, maybe tougher with Carr, but I still say an L. And then Eagles, perhaps a dub or perhaps an L. So not too bad of a schedule. Do got to face Dallas, do got to face Philadelphia. And when you look at their schedule so far in terms of which teams they have faced that are really tough, it's really been the Baltimore Ravens, I think, that have been the toughest team that the Washington Commanders have faced. Also the Cincinnati Bengals, even though the Bengals haven't been doing too well, still a tough team. But when you really look at it in terms of NFC juggernauts, tough teams in the NFC, the Commanders still haven't gone up against anybody close to the caliber as the Philadelphia Eagles, or I might even say close to the caliber as the Atlanta Falcons, or even the Dallas Cowboys. I think you would have to say that maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the close enough to the Dallas Cowboys, along with the Chicago Bears. So even though we want to hype up Jaden Daniels and be stoked about him, I still think the guy has a lot to prove. And I think that when you look at how easy their schedule has been for the beginning of the year, the toughest part is coming up after week 9. So we'll see how the Commanders do. Like this video if you have not yet. Subscribe to me, Wi-Fi Willie, for more content. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.